Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Firstly, I'd like to echo the words of Mr. Coley and thank Powerline for organising such a brilliant platform for the utilities, EPC contractors, manufacturers, and industry specialists to share a forum, to exchange knowledge, recognise projects, the challenges and the constraints that are in front of these people when they're trying to deliver these projects. My name is Albert Molloy and I'm the Global Product Manager for the OCG range of corrosion preventive grease that is used in the manufacture of overhead line conductors. The grease is designed to extend life, preserve the condition of the conductor and provide resilience to the assets. So really, what are we trying to protect? With this product, we're looking to protect the transmission lines. And if we look at the statistics, which are phenomenal, I think in 2023, there was 5.7 million circuit kilometers of transmission lines globally, which is going to increase by 1 million kilometers over the next 4 years. In India, these figures are a big player. They're taking the existing transmission lines and adding 150,000 kilometers of conductor, which is more than 15% of that global investment. So it's a massive market. There's a lot of responsibility. And when these lines are being put in place, it's so important to make sure that you maximize the asset life. So why do we introduce OCG? What is the risk and why is it increased? So as we all know, India is a massive country. It's very varied in its environments, its climates, its mountain regions, its areas of high humidity. So really, conductors operate in varied climatic conditions. These include coastal regions, areas of high humidity, water-laden environments, areas of industrial pollution, arid desert conditions, all of which challenge the conductors. I think as we all know, when we look at a conductor and we're trying to monitor its condition, the problems are internal, they're not external. You have drones, you're doing infrared tests to find hot spots on the conductors. So if we can prevent these problems of internal corrosion, we extend the life of the conductor and we reduce costs. The conductors themselves, they've evolved over the years from the standard ACSR conductor that we've been using now for 50, 60 years plus to today's high temperature, low sag technology composite core conductors. All these conductors are meeting your expectations of delivering power, renewable power, connecting new cities. But they are compromised because they're multi-metal systems that are designed to deliver mechanical and electrical properties. The construction of these conductors, it creates internal voids or interstices where moisture and oxygen can enter the conductor and as such create ideal conditions for atmospheric and galvanic corrosion. What we've got on this stage here is just a little bit of information on the actual regions. So we're looking at desert, arid regions where there's salt in the sand, there's coastal regions. We're looking at forest areas where it's areas of high humidity. The bottom left image, what we're seeing here is it's an ACR conductor that was installed off the coast of Italy. The conductor was 5 years old. There was no protection system internally. And as we can see, that protective zinc layer or galvanized layer on the steel core, which is a sacrificial metal, has depleted. And what we've got then with the salt-laden air, the saline conditions, is we created a galvanic cell. And the less noble metal has become sacrificial, it's corroded and expanded the aluminium, which has ultimately broke. This conductor was replaced, utilizing OCG technology, and has now been operational for 15 years with no problems. If we look at the corrosion mechanisms, I think we're all familiar with dissimilar metals. Once we go to AAAC conductors, we think that problem's gone, but it doesn't, particularly in coastal regions. Some of the utilities here, some of the contractors may have taken down conductors that have failed, and they found, particularly in coastal regions, that the AAAC conductor has failed. And what we can see in the top right is it's not a AAAC conductor, but the aluminium has gone into solution. So the aluminium, when there's no oxygen in there, it's just a saline solution or moisture, the aluminium is changing to aluminium hydroxide or aluminium oxide, and it's just going into solution and weakening. So the cost of ownership, the cost of corrosion, it's a perennial challenge for the power transmission and distribution sector. It's there, it's something that has to be acknowledged. When you're putting in new lines now, there's a lot of lines to go in. You don't want to replace them sooner. You want to replace them later. You want to increase the resilience, maximize the asset life. If uncontrolled, the repair and replacement costs will escalate. Operational disruptions, load shedding, these all have the potential for consequential losses and serious problems with the users. So what OCG is doing is it's bringing a technology that extends the life, and by so doing, you don't have to go in and replace those lines. And once you've installed the line, you lose the access roads, the accessibility. You've got to reinstate them to go in and replace the conductor. So again, maximizing asset life is important. How does OCG work? In its simple form, it's a grease. We fill the interstices of the conductor with the grease, and by so doing, we prevent the ingress of moisture and oxygen. The grease is applied during the manufacturing stage. This is by the people who manufacture the conductors. And once the grease is in there, it has to remain there. It has to have the thermal capability to withstand the maximum operating temperature and sub-zero temperatures. It has to be completely reversible. So it shouldn't oxidize, it shouldn't change physically or chemically. It should be able to withstand 150 degrees C, come back to ambient, and be exactly the same. It must not release oil. The product has to stay in, it has to retain its integrity if it's going to protect the conductor. The OCG range is specific to this industry sector. It has no other application. It's not a lubricating grease, and hence a lubricating grease isn't fit for purpose for conductors. When the grease stays in there, which it has done in many countries, the UK has used grease now for 80 years. There are conductors coming down in the UK now from coastal regions, regions next to oil refineries. The grease is still inside the conductor, the steel core is protected, and the conductor continues to operate with just jumpers, fittings being replaced. What we've got now is we've got elevated temperatures. We're not looking at conductors with a rating of 75 degrees C. We're looking at HTLS conductors with a temperature rating of 210 degrees C. The OCG range is designed with a proven capability to meet these requirements for the power transmission lines. As a summary, the OCG grease will prevent corrosion, it will extend conductor life, reduces line maintenance and replacement. I'd just like to talk quickly on Corona. With the grease, if you put the wrong grease into a conductor, it releases oil. The oil will come to the outside of the conductor. If we get oil on the outside, the oil will retain airborne pollutants and dust, which will cause a corona. This happens on the higher transmission lanes, or the lines with higher ampacity. You've got to eliminate this risk. If you get a corona, you've got loss of power, you've got noise, you've got radio interference. It's not acceptable. And also, if the grease is on the outside of the conductor, it's not doing what it should on the inside, which is protect and preserve the integrity of the line. As a supplier into this industry sector, there has to be complete visibility through the supply chain. The OCG range complies with the most stringent of industry specifications and goes beyond. We work with many of the world's utilities where they've implemented additional testing. These capabilities are all documented and presented to the utilities, the contractors, the conductor manufacturer. And through the supply chain, we also, with every delivery of the grease to the manufacturer, we supply certificates of analysis, which are utilized by the inspectors who go on behalf of the utilities to the manufacturer. So just to summarize, Metalube is a global company. OCG has become a global brand. We supply many of the world's utilities, conductor manufacturers. As a company, we've got 5 business units globally, 1 here in India, where we provide technical support, guidance, and product for ease of purchase. The products are industry specific, and if anybody would like further information or has any questions, we have a team of people on our stand, which is located right next door, stand A38. Thank you very much.